When I think about Easter memories, of course, I've got a lot of great memories involved with my ministry. I think of my first Easter leading worship as a vicar in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I think of my first Easter as a pastor of a congregation, getting to lead communion, to give communion to people. I think about all the smiles and the timpani and the singing. I think about the Easter lilies. But when Pastor Dorn asked me about my most memorable Easter, my thought went not to ministry, but to family, actually. My thoughts went to this particular cactus right here. This cactus was a gift to my wife from her grandma. And about 5-6 years ago, we were hosting Easter dinner at our house, and my wife's grandma and grandpa came down to eat with us. My wife was very proud of how the cactus looked, how it was alive, how it was blooming, so she wanted to show it to her grandma. So she picked it up and carried it over to her. And I didn't quite see exactly what happened, but what I do remember is that the cactus toppled out of my wife's hands, landed on the table, and sent dirt flying everywhere. All over the table, all over the floor, and all over Grandma. That's not the memory though. The memory is that my wife went to get the vacuum to clean up the mess. She started vacuuming the floor, she started vacuuming the table, and yes, she started vacuuming her grandma right there at Easter dinner. And her grandma was just sitting there, completely stunned and motionless, while her granddaughter was vacuuming her off. She didn't know what to do. I'll never forget the look on her face. I'll never forget the look on my wife's face. And I'll never forget the experience of joy and laughter that story has brought us for many years since. And I think the best thing about today as Easter is that we know that my wife's grandma and grandpa don't just live on in our memories, that they live in Jesus, and that we have the promise of resurrection. And so every time I see this cactus, I'm reminded of the mess that it made, but also the hope of resurrection that we have and the joy of knowing that we'll get to see grandma and grandpa again in the new creation.